Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and yeah, you can probably hear, I don't know if the mic's fully picking it up, but the slight frog voice. I'm flying home from North Carolina, and I just hear this kid in front of me coughing and coughing. He sounds sick as hell, and I'm going, yo, I'm trapped in here for another couple of hours. I'm probably going to get sick, and wouldn't you know it. So, yeah, a little under the weather here, and I wanted to just find a little story I could coast into today, especially because looking deeper into the week, as soon as tomorrow, according to Jason Schreier, we're getting Xbox layoffs, and that's going to be a whole other ordeal. It's going to be pretty negative, no doubt about it. And so with that in mind, I wanted to go to kind of my comfort area, my safe space, if you will, talk a bit about Bethesda and Elder Scrolls 6, even if the news isn't tremendously like get out of your seat hype. I just wanted to talk a bit about it and where we're at as Elder Scrolls fans, because yeah, it's tough being one right now. We get Oblivion Remastered. That's fantastic. We'll talk about that toward the end of this video. But otherwise, it's been slim pickings in the terms of a new mainline game. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, you're into what's going on with Bethesda, consider subscribing. Let's start off at the top, just recounting where we're at right now. Everyone has their own, I call it, Skyrim story. So, for example here, after the Xbox Game Showcase had come and gone, there was no Elder Scrolls 6 trailer like your boy predicted. Headlines like this from Games Radar started to pop up. Another year passes with no Elder Scrolls 6 news, nearly 14 years since Skyrim. Bethesda fans gather to mourn what could have been at Summer Games Fest. I feel like giving up. There was a Reddit post linked in there that says, 13 years, 7 months, and 27 days I have waited. And I always go back to this, is like, I'm lucky as someone who adores Fallout and adores Elder Scrolls that I kind of get taken care of one way or another. Elder Scrolls fans, though, really didn't have a bone truly thrown their way since Skyrim until the Oblivion remaster. And even then, I think some Elder Scrolls fans, understandably so, are like, dude, I want a new game, a new experience, because most Elder Scrolls fans, probably through their coping process of getting games like Blades and Legends and Castles, went, okay, I'm going to replay Morrowind, and I'm going to replay Oblivion, and I'm going to replay Skyrim for the millionth time. And so yeah, that kind of runs its course. So Oblivion Remastered is great and all, but I imagine many fans are still hunting down for that new mainline experience. And yeah, like I said, we all have our own stories. For me, when Skyrim came out, I was a junior in high school, and I remember specifically flunking a class because I kept reading up on Skyrim previews and ignoring the lessons in my computer class. And so, I mean, it kind of worked out long term, but definitely do as I say, don't do as I do type of moment in my life. So why we're sitting down to talk about Elder Scrolls 6 today and recounting the tales of our wait and where we were at now, like I didn't think, oh, I'd be over 30 by the time Elder Scrolls 6 came out, but here we are. Elder Scrolls 6 trailer getting closer despite no showcase at Xbox Game Showcase 2025. So my man Jez Corder, my man Randall Thor, we're chatting on Xbox 2. Here's what was said when it came to exactly where Elder Scrolls 6 might be at right now. Quote, "There was a good reason," Jez says, "why I thought maybe it was going to be there. And it was because that I'd heard there'd been internal trailers and they've been demonstrating it internally. So I'm kind of like, if they're demonstrating it internally and I'm hearing about it, chances are that maybe it's going further afield now," end quote. After the podcast co-host speaks on the subject for a little bit, Corin then adds, quote, "It's getting closer, end quote, despite the game's omission from this summer's event. Clearly, for now at least, Xbox and Bethesda aren't quite ready to showcase more of the Elder Scrolls 6 at this time." Ignoring Jez's report, the reason I predicted Elder Scrolls 6 would be at this showcase is because, as I've covered numerous times, it seems to actively bother Todd for how long it's been between the time Elder Scrolls 6 got revealed and now versus Skyrim's release and that Elder Scrolls 6 trailer. Like, the wait has been longer now, which is ridiculous. And the harsh truth of this, if I were to put on my negative cap for a moment here, hang on, I have a cap somewhere. Okay, well, this isn't really negative. I love Fallout, but I'm playing for the other team now. How about that? So, yeah, I'm putting on my negative cap here. It is unacceptable where we're at now with this franchise, man. I mean, we're talking about whole on half our lifetimes. Like, people who were in elementary school are now in college waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. This is the one thing among everything else that I think AAA gaming has gotten so wrong, is the wait between entries. And it sets up games like Elder Scrolls 6, to be frank with you. I don't want to call my shot too early, but to kind of like fail in the public eye. Man, that didn't live up to the hype. I mean, frankly, what can after like 14 years, 15 years, by the time we get it, maybe even 16 years? It's crazy to think about. Okay, I'm taking off my negative cap now. And it's really hard to tell how hard they're going on Elder Scrolls 6 because there's a couple of things up in the air right now. One, as we've extensively discussed, is Starfield. I do feel like Starfield is a bit of an X factor here. No doubt, at least I hope, Elder Scrolls 6 is the primary project at Bethesda Game Studios right now. That is the good news. And to me, that's why a trailer circulating makes sense. For those who don't know, it is pretty common for internal trailers to circulate to update, say, investors like, hey, we're making progress on that thing you're paying us money to make, right? To keep funding going, to keep support going, to keep your investor tapped in. That is pretty common. So it's not like there is just a trailer that's going to go out to marketing. I mean, we've seen footage leak plenty of times before of reels, of trailers that are internal, and they end up being different when they're put out to the public. Because I guess the idea is sort of the same, like you're trying to sell a product to investors versus trying to sell it to a customer. But I think the customer gets probably the better side of the deal because you get less work in progress crap in your trailer. But if, as I've said a million times, we do go back to the Bethesda FTC document, it says that based on everything having that 2-year gap, next year, Elder Scrolls 6, and I still don't think that's too far flung, but as I was getting at earlier, I think Starfield support is the X factor here. Because Bethesda is still, when it's compared to AAA, a smaller team. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but the difference is that they're split in so many ways. Fallout 76, Starfield support, Oblivion Remastered support, Fallout 4 Next Gen Update at one point. You know, the list goes on. Elder Scrolls 6, of course, is where most of the team is at. Like, they have their hands in a lot of cookie jars. Even if they bring in that outside help like Virtuos with Oblivion Remastered, they still have members of their team on it. So they're pulled in a lot of directions because they have a lot of things that people love. So Starfield being the X factor is because, I mean, let's call it as it is, people love Starfield way less than, say, Fallout or Elder Scrolls. Generally speaking, there are probably people out there who do like Starfield way more than either, and that's fine. But if Starfield support continues on in a strong way and the game has a rebound, kind of like how CD Projekt Red is in this reloading phase, do you start to see more DLC for that game than there originally was planned? Like, I don't think CD Projekt Red anticipated such a huge bounce back in that, and an expansion like Phantom Liberty to sell as excellently as it did, but it's changed it so much that CD Projekt Red tried to draw the line at update 2.1 and then kept going 2.2, now 2.3 soon. So just some food for thought there. And one thing I would really love for Bethesda to do, actually, is if they're going to splinter off and do anything, it's like, go back and make an official expansion for Skyrim that kind of leans a little bit into where Elder Scrolls 6 is going. I think that's one of the most exciting rumors surrounding CD Projekt Red right now and The Witcher 3 is that there is going to be some sort of update, at the very least, that is going to lean into where Ciri goes with The Witcher 4. So just some ideas there. To wrap things up, I want to turn my attention to Oblivion Remastered here because I had a feeling that we'd get an update early June because that was the originally leaked release date / window for Oblivion Remastered. And so we did get update 1.1 then. And as we see here, they have 2 updates that they mentioned. Their second update will focus on performance, and they said we'll share more details when we're able. So to me, what we're getting here today, and I'm not saying this in quote, by the way, before anyone misinterprets it, but this is the quote launch product. Like, I think the game got moved up probably to fit Q1 earnings for Microsoft to kind of push the idea like Xbox is doing really well. Again, with layoffs looming, you have to wonder if that was part of the power play. Like, we don't have to let anyone go. The business is doing great. I don't really know. But again, getting a game moved up a couple months to me sounds like a bit of an emergency situation there. So this update drops Steam beta June 5th, all platforms June 11th, which funny enough was timed right around the showcase. So again, kind of feels like this is the true launch here. Some of the fixes though are mostly stability based, like lots of CPU crashes being fixed, animation fixes, VFX not spawning, a lot of UI fixes, some console commands added, those sorts of things here. The second update though, the performance one, is the one I'm personally waiting on, and I've been waiting a while for this one. Stability is good because my game was crashing like hell, as I documented in my final verdict video on the game, and it's what stopped my playthrough. The performance stuff though is something that I am really keen to see how well they do with that, and also because they didn't give us any sort of window, how long it takes. So the fixes are inbound, and at least Elder Scrolls fans are getting a little something here. But yeah, the wait continues on, and in the terms of when we might see that trailer, my guess, again, if it is actually coming out next year, which I know people are like, there's no way. And I get it. Like, I'm skeptical too, but I'm just going based on how consistently accurate the FTC document has been for Bethesda, like scarily accurate outside of canceled games, which we already know about, is probably next summer. Like, I don't know. It just seems like when Phil stepped out on the Xbox Summer Showcase stage this year and said, like, Forza, Halo, Gears next year, plus Fable, I don't know where you really squeeze Elder Scrolls 6 into that, and I wouldn't hate if it got more time just to cook a little bit. But does that mean we don't see it next year? Who knows? Again, I do feel like Elder Scrolls fans, and the reason I wanted to talk about this more is they're due for a gimme trailer. Like, kind of as I've mentioned many times, like the Starfield world and lore and graphics trailer where you just kind of know what it's looking like, where it's actually set, like an update trailer, and then kind of a release window. I feel like Bethesda can give you that and then do like a full gameplay deep dive maybe the following year. We'll see, but it's good to know it's circulating internally. It's sad to know, though, that we're all feeling a bit existential over this game. So we'll see as time goes on, but ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts down below. No doubt we'll be back tomorrow to talk about what seems like some pretty sour news incoming, hoping it's really overhyped and we look at it and go, okay, not too bad. But given how many warning shots have been fired off, we'll ultimately see. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you're thinking. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.